How to learn Russian vocabulary from scratch. Learning a lot of vocab is going to be very, very important if you're learning Russian because unlike French, Spanish, Italian, maybe even German, although less so, but unlike all those languages, Russian vocabulary is going to be very, very different from English. So it's going to be much more difficult. There are much fewer cognates. There are some cognates, but they're much fewer, and that's going to make it much more challenging at first because you're going to encounter lots and lots and lots of words that you don't know. So you need to learn lots of words. This is the most effective and the fastest way to learn lots of vocab quickly. This is mnemonic associations. This is the best technique to learn thousands of words fast, right? I learned this from a memory champion from Spain in his course, and he used it for other things like passing exams and things like that. But but I started applying it to language learning, and clearly works, especially in the beginning. Yeah. So what I do is, what you should do is take all the famous 80-20 rule, the most common words, and you memorize them all with mnemonic associations. Yeah, especially the verbs, the adjectives, and most of the nouns. I've got a bunch of lists that you can find in the description. You can find a link there. A list with around 1,000 total words, a few hundred adjectives, a few hundred verbs, and a few hundred, over 1,000, I think, nouns, the most common ones. And with that, obviously you will need a lot more vocab later on, but with that you'll have the foundations to understand quite a lot of Russian already. So how do we do it? Well, first of all, first challenge is going to be Cyrillic alphabet. You have to learn it. You don't really have to learn it. I recommend you do it because it's easy. Yeah, this is a B. Sorry, this is a shared document that I share with my students. But this is a B sound. This is a This is a T. This is softens the previous consonant. So быть, иметь, делать, сказать, идти, получить, делать, знать, думать. This is a D. So Z. This is an N sound. Знать, думать, делать. This is a yeah, and there's another one that's a e. Yeah, делать. Pronunciation is quite tricky for English speakers at first, but that's material for another video. It's pretty easy if you do a lot of listening, repeating, and listening in general. But vocabulary, how do we learn it? Okay, we basically take the word to be, and so yeah, we've got the verb to be, and you create a mental image for to be. I always use Shakespeare, like the to be or not to be, the guy with the skull talking to the skull. I don't know if that's Hamlet or whatever. I'm not into. I'm not into. I mean, I read a lot, and I've read like some deep stuff, but Shakespeare I haven't, honestly. But yeah, that's a famous image, like the guy talking to the skull. Um, so yeah, to be or not to be, and then but, which would be written like something like this. So you have to find something that sounds like bit, bite, bit. Yeah, someone's doing the to be or not to be thing, and the skull bites him in the face. Can you actually visualize it? Yeah, you have to create the mental image, otherwise it doesn't work. The more violent it is, if it's violent, weird, sexual, shocking somehow, it's going to be more effective. Your brain remembers that kind of stuff. Your brain doesn't remember boring, mundane stuff that you do repetitively every day. So this is the trick. You're going to use that feature of your brain. If you use that part where you create mental images and you visualize weird stuff or shocking stuff, scary, uh, any of that stuff, you will remember it. You probably remember, I mean, I don't know how old some of you are, but you probably remember 9/11 and what you were doing when you saw that on TV. Or you remember, I don't know, something serious happened. You remember what you were doing that day, but you don't remember what you had for breakfast a month ago on a Monday right before going to work. It's just because it's the same old stuff, right? So this is much more effective than repetition. You can and you probably should create flashcards with this and then review them afterwards, but you'll need much fewer reviews per word if you do this first. So I I'm not a big fan of flashcards. If you like to use them, but first make sure you create an association for each one of them. You can train yourself to create associations very quickly. Yeah, you to be is bit. The guy with the skull bites him, bit. Find something that sounds like immediate. Find something that sounds like dielat. And if it's going to be too difficult with the Cyrillic, then just use ChatGPT or something and rewrite it using our own characters, and that's it. Yeah, something that sounds like brat, думать, чтобы увидеть, приходить, and so on and so forth. And you associate them with these words. Find a mental image for this, find a mental image for something that sounds like this, and then you associate them. You do that over and over again with all of them, and then use flashcards to review them, or simply you can look at this list, review it. Okay, how do you say to feel? Чувствовать. And you're like, yeah, чувствовать. How do you say uh, to kill? Убить. Meet. Встречать. Встречаться. Продолжать. Устанавливать. Yeah. So you find something that sounds like this, visualize it, visualize this, create an association, go. And then you can either review this and try to, okay, how do you say I find? And if you don't remember, you look back, you look at the second column. Otherwise, you continue, or you do flashcards. But even with flashcards, if it's a word you don't remember, I highly recommend you create an association again with all the ones that you're struggling with, because it's going to be much easier and faster for you to memorize. Normally, you need to see words 10 or 12 times. It depends on how good your memory is, but most people need to see every word in context 10 or 12 times to remember it. That's a lot of reading and watching stuff, a lot, thousands of hours that you need to do to learn enough vocabulary. Instead, if you do this, you learn a few thousand words very quickly in a couple of weeks. Okay, so I hope you found this useful to learn Russian or any other language. You can find this whole list in the free course in the description below, all right? With all the verbs, the adjectives, and the nouns.